Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Narratives Cast. I'm Kay, they, them.
Hi, I'm Savannah, she, her.
We don't have anything planned for today.
No.
We accidentally skipped the last 2 months of recording because we got busy and weren't able to do stuff.
Yeah.
But we both finished semester at our college, and at the time of recording this, it's Pride Month, and actually a couple of days after the parade that we both marched in.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was really pleasant to go and be someplace where there's just so many openly queer people.
Mm-hmm. I love it. It's an interesting power walking that parade.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's, like I said, Pride is just such a drastically different experience from the way that other the other ways that I've seen queer representation.
Oh yeah.
Because everywhere else it's subtle and quiet and just kind of in the background. But there it was the only purpose besides corporations advertising.
Yeah.
Which I hate.
Ugh. Man.
There weren't a lot of counter-protesters either, which was not surprising, but at the same time also still a little surprising.
Yeah, it's definitely, I've marched 3 years, and that's I think the smallest crowd I've seen. The first year I did was 2 massive crowds.
The first year is probably one of the first prides that Utah's had too, in Salt Lake.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm pretty sure Utah hasn't really had any before gay marriage was legalized.
I don't know. What's interesting about it is that, as they were talking about it, as we kept passing the announcers, it kept saying this was, the 44th parade. So I don't know how accurate that is.
I'm not sure either. That sounds unofficial. Low-key kind of stuff.
I wonder if that's what it is. But, as of, the biggest ones, it's only been going on for a few years.
Yeah, definitely.
But...
yeah, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, there were 5 total, I think.
I think so.
I think I counted 5 altogether. I shouted at them, Jesus said trans rights, and I doubt they heard me, but it felt satisfying.
I know, we were on the other side of them, so I don't think they did.
Yeah, but I still felt good about it.
Yeah.
Segueing off of that a little bit, queer representation. I want to talk about asexual characters a little bit.
Yes! I'm so into this.
Because there are not very many that are actually canonically asexual.
Genuinely can't think of anything right off the bat.
Todd in BoJack Horseman is canonically asexual.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, in I think season 4 or 5, one of the two, probably 4. He comes out and realizes that he's asexual, and there are episodes of him learning to deal with that and trying to date other asexual people and stuff like that, and it's really cool. BoJack Horseman actually does a really good job with queer representation over other shows.
Yeah, that's what you've been saying. I really need to get into it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start that tonight.
The first season is not the best, but everyone's the first season sucks. Just skip it and watch the second, and don't actually.
You need the story.
Yeah. Well, the first season you could skip, but if you do, you're gonna be kind of hopping in neck deep.
Yeah.
Because the first season gives a lot of really important information on how character dynamics work, and if you hop into season 2, they're going to be telling jokes and stuff based on those dynamics, and you won't know them.
And you won't understand.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'll work my way through.
It's just literally every show ever, where the first season's never going to be the best, because a good show will continue to improve every season.
Yeah, exactly.
So everyone who's it's so bad, it's okay, it's not perfect. That's kind of the point.
It's not, but you need to learn.
But so, Todd's asexual, and he dates another asexual character who is an axolotl.
I love axolotls.
Which is fun, because I think they actually do reproduce asexually out in the wild.
I think so. I don't know. They're just cute animals.
I'm pretty sure they do. But the irony of it is that she is asexual and dating Todd, but her family is a bunch of sex fiends.
Oh, I love it.
So, because sex is such a huge part of the family life, when, she takes Todd to meet them, they have to pretend that they're, in a sexually active relationship. And then, hijinks ensue.
Oh,
and
boy.
It's comical and ridiculous.
Oh, that sounds hilarious.
There's, Todd's trying to pretend that he knows sex stuff, and he does, a bow chicka wow wow, but he says it wrong. And so, the mom character is, a famous porn star, and she's trying to, prove that he's asexual by, trying to seduce him, in quotes.
Oh, my God.
And he goes, oh, no, your top fell off. I mean, bazoonga. And then she's like, I knew it. It's very good. And that's the only canonically asexual character I can think of ever.
Yeah,
Besides characters that I've written, but that's not the same.
But like mainstream media, are there any? I don't even know asexual actors and actresses.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen a list because the 1 in 5 Club always talks about them, but I can't even remember any of those names.
Yeah, I don't either. Because they're probably not, like, big and prominent because it's difficult for them to become big and prominent. Because right now, the only, like, queer actors that are, like, becoming big and prominent are mostly, like, cis gay and cis lesbian actors. With some exceptions. Pose is doing really good with, like, introducing trans actors to the front.
I cry every single episode. I'm not kidding.
I need to catch up. I found out it's on Netflix recently.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm watching it is because it's on. I am 4 episodes in, and I have sobbed every episode.
I think I got to episode 5 because I was watching it on, like, a piracy website. And I was, like, watching once they came out. But then, like, I fell off for a bit. I don't remember why exactly. It was probably work and school combined.
Oh, it's so good.
But yeah.
And I started watching it. It's like, I don't know. I want to know how many of these actors are trans. And I finally looked it up.
A lot of them.
I finally looked it up last night, and literally all of the main characters, or all of the main, like, trans women, are all trans activists. And I'm like, this is amazing.
It's really good.
Because they're all really well passing. And I was like, there's no way. Like, they're hiding. They're doing these certain angle shots because this one woman isn't, and she's actually a cis het woman. And then I looked it up, and she's like, no, she's like one of the most prominent transgender actresses in the world. And I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Pose was, like, really good about ensuring that, like, characters got cast as, like, their actual genders for actors instead of, like,
it's so
whoever.
Good. Oh,
people out there like, it's just acting. No. People can act. And it's like, well, sure, but that doesn't mean it's accurate.
Yeah, exactly.
I can promise you that a straight man is not going to know, like, what it's like to actually want to kiss another man. So acting between them is going to be weird and awkward.
You can see that in Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, yeah.
None of them are comfortable.
Yeah.
Neither of them are comfortable.
And it's like, cool, I'm glad your gay cowboy movie actually has straight cowboys.
Wow.
I know of, like, a couple of, like, headcanon characters that are asexual. In fact, one of the first characters I ever saw where I was just like, I guess she's asexual, even if I didn't have the terms for it at the time, is Shinoa from a Castlevania game on the DS. The reasons that she's asexual in-game are kind of vaguely bullshit. The context is that, like, a ritual got fucked up, and she lost all of her memories and emotions. Oh. And so it's like, I actually can't feel anything for anyone because I don't have it. But the way that, like, she talks about it with another character, because there's a dialogue where another character's like, I'm gonna, like, make jewelry that'll make you smile. I swear it. And she at one point mentions, like, do you have, like, a boyfriend? And Shinoa's response is, not anyone I'm capable of caring for. You? Oh. And, like, even though that line is obviously part of, like, I don't have emotions, it still felt, like, specifically asexual. Of, like, I literally can't, like, care.
I don't care. Can't care.
A little leaning towards aromantic than asexual, but, you know, hand in hand there.
Yeah, for sure.
But, of course, it's produced by, like, Konami, some, like, big Japanese games company, so even if that was the intention, they'd never come out and say it.
Not at all.
Let me think. There's, like, other cartoon characters and stuff that I've seen that I'm just, like, vaguely, like, yeah, that's probably an asexual character, but I can't think of them off the top of my head because I haven't watched cartoons in a while.
Yeah, I can't. Most of the cartoons I watch are children because of my little brother, so I don't think there's any in there.
BoJack Horseman and She-Ra are the only two that, like, I've actually been watching myself lately. Because she was really good, and she was got some good queer rep too.
I've heard that one's really good too with it.
One of, like, the episodes in season 2, one of the characters is revealed to just have 2 gay dads, and
cute.
it's, like, not made a big deal out of it. Season 1 reveals that there's, like, a lesbian couple as well. And it's just, like, cool. And a lot of people headcanon Bo as being trans.
Nice.
So yeah, and that might, I don't know what the accuracy of that is, but who knows? Maybe it'll be shown. Maybe it won't.
Maybe.
Who knows?
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. If it does, it'd probably be, like, a little bit later in the season.
Sure.
Or it'd be, like, authorial intent outside of the episode, but whatever.
Well, as long as they don't handle it like J.K. Rowling did, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
On the flip side of queer representation, I don't know if you ever saw it, but there was that, like, drag superhero cartoon.
That one?
Yeah, and that did terrible. That's not a good. That's not a good cartoon. I watched, I think, 15 minutes of the first episode, and I'm like, this is not okay.
I heard, like, the preview on Netflix, and I was like, oh, that's like 6 stereotypes in the span of 15 seconds. I'm gonna scroll down.
Yeah, it is bad. It definitely has a lot of, like... I mean, I was super excited, don't get me wrong, because there are a lot of drag queens who are the voice actors that I really enjoy, but no.
Yeah.
That was a bad thing.
I've never really been, like, a big fan of drag, just because of, like, what it's become. Mm-hmm. Like, the Pose era of drag, the 80s.
Yeah, the ballroom scene is
it was definitely, like, a positive thing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Even if it's still, like, focused harshly on, like, passing culture, and that's not necessarily the best. At the time, that's just kind of what it was.
Yeah, and that's how it worked for them, is just how...
Yeah. And since, like,
well
they didn't have, like, the language that we have today, or, like, the ability to discuss things like we have today, obviously it's going to be a little bit harder for them. Mm-hmm. But now, drag's been kind of taken over by a lot of cis gay men.
It really has.
It's been, like, stolen from trans people who was, like, originally for anyway. Mm-hmm.
And that's the unfortunate thing, especially when it comes to, like, the transphobia from RuPaul himself and all the others.
All of his queens. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's, like, a big reason why I'm kind of off-put by drag culture. So when I saw that the show was a thing, I was like, I don't have good expectations of this, and then I was proven right.
Yeah, I was a little wary because I wasn't sure where they were going to take it, and I knew some of the voice actors, and then I watched it, and it was just a bad idea. It was a mistake.
Yeah. It's basically, like, they were trying to make a queer show for straight people. Yeah. And, like, it read as that so hard.
It really did. It did not do very well.
But... since I only watched, like, a preview of it and got all of that from a preview, I don't know a lot about the show.
I don't even remember the name of it, but I just know that there was one scene, or one part of the first episode where they were fighting bad guys, and they were at the point where they were going to let one of the main bad guys just drown. And one of the queens was like, nah, you're too pretty. Went and saved him. He was passed out. Things were insinuated, and then she came back to the group and let him go away, or, like, go off. And I'm like, no, not okay.
Yeah, that's not great.
No, I stopped watching as soon as that happened.
The show art style looked like it was kind of inspired by the Powerpuff Girls, but then, like, a little extra stylized.
Yeah, for sure.
Which, that did kind of interest me, but it ended up playing up, like... some of the features of the drag queens to such a comical degree that I was like, I don't think I could take this seriously even if I did want to watch it.
Yeah, one of their superpowers was, like, a condom-shaped force field, so...
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not real good.
That's not a good thing. It was a mess.
Oof.
Yikes.
Let me think. I know that a lot of people like watching Queer Eye.
Queer Eye is really good.
I haven't watched it.
I'm not sure how much of your speed it would be, but, like, inspiration-wise, it's really good. They are definitely cishet.
Yeah.
Or not cishet, but they're cis gay men.
Yeah.
For sure. A lot of, like, androgyny with a couple of them, but they're still pretty well cis.
Yeah. Still kind of like a queer show for straight people.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what it is, especially with the sense that it wasn't until the second season that they started, like, making over non-straight individuals, or non-cishet individuals for that matter.
Yeah. I don't know, I never, like I said, it probably isn't my speed, because, like, makeover shows and stuff I'm not super care about that much. Yeah. Like, fashion's cool and all, but, like, watching hours upon hours of it is, like, that's not me. I'll look at images and be like, that's cool, and then, like, scroll by.
Exactly, and that's, I think... and kind of just in that sense is that it's good for certain people. Like, it's kind of good. Yeah. They have those episodes where they kind of deal with acceptance of religion between some of the main men. In the second season, they help somebody who got kicked out by her parents after they found out she was gay and all those things. And so, like, there's a lot of, like, touching moments between it. It also kind of talks about it had an episode where they talked about, like, police brutality very vaguely, and how straight men in Alabama and the South would perceive queer people. And so it was kind of eye-opening for a lot of people and really, like, inspirational and kind of, like, in tune to.
I think that's, like, a decent spot to hop into and talking about, like, reality TV a bit. Because, like, personas and characters still exist even in mediums where they say that, like, it's not.
They're supposed to be,
Yeah. And, like, this has been a huge thing that people have only recently started talking about. About how, like, reality TV is heavily scripted.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, everyone's kind of talked about how it's scripted. It's like, oh, it's fake. But then when YouTube came along and people started pretending that their videos weren't scripted, especially with vlogs and stuff, it basically became reality TV 2.0, where, again, it's pretty scripted.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, a lot of these people pretend that it's not scripted. And a lot of people don't think it is scripted. And it's especially difficult when, like, I'm watching, like, a well-edited, put-together video essay, and apparently people didn't think that was scripted, and it's like, what?
How did you think that was just off the cuff? That's...
Like,
people are talented,
like,
but not that talented.
You can definitely tell the difference between, like, a video essay that's, like, scripted and properly done and one that's not.
Yeah.
Because the one that aren't will usually be, like, it's either, like, just kind of a blank screen where people are just sort of talking, and there's a lot of, like, awkward pauses and stuff. I actually made a video today to try and, like, emulate that idea of trying to have, like, a slightly scripted video be unscripted. And, like, you can tell that I was just kind of going a little bit based off of knowledge off the top of my head, because there's a lot of, like, pauses in there.
Yeah.
I don't actually have, like, a lot of relevant information that's, like, mentioned in the video, albeit it's also really short. Oh, yeah, that's the thing, is, like, people who think that, like, you can make 10 minutes of video unscripted, no. Like,
no.
Live streamers can do that, but that's also because their like livelihood is literally being live for hours on end.
Yeah, exactly.
But even then, like, if they tried to create a more compact 10-minute video, they'd probably have a more difficult time just because of, like, the different skill set you have to do that.
For sure.
And so, like, I think Queer Eye probably still fits into that idea of people not thinking that it's scripted, especially when, like, with touching moments, where there's definitely, like, a certain amount of truth to that.
Yeah.
But, like, there's still cameras.
There's still
cameras, makeup artists.
Time and place.
There's still directors. Yeah. Like, these touching moments are still being curated for you as an audience. They aren't just kind of happening and somebody pulls out their smartphone and goes, oh, shit, let me record this. And I feel like it's important for people to still, like, realize that.
Yeah, exactly. And cool. I think that's... I don't know where I was going with that.
That's fair.
I don't know. Anyway.
It's cool that the show still has, like, a positive effect.
It does. Yeah. It's really... It's doing really well.
YouTube also, a little bit unlike reality TV, has a lot of, like, parasocial relationships. Is a term that's being thrown around a lot more recently. Which I don't know how familiar you are with that.
No. Not at all.
A parasocial relationship is basically a relationship that goes one way.
Oh, okay.
So it's literally like, if you watched a vlogger that released a vlog every day, and you really enjoyed what they made, and at one point kind of started considering yourself friends because you knew so much about them because you watched every day of their life in a way. But because they don't know you, you're still not really friends with them.
Yeah.
Like, they're still just a creator and you're just consuming their content. That's basically what a parasocial relationship is this idea of a fan thinking that they're friends with, like, a creator.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it's become, with YouTube especially, it's become, like, way more common for parasocial relationships to exist.
That makes, I'm not surprised by that at all.
Some content creators are very careful about trying to avoid parasocial relationships. I'd like to argue I'm one of them. I'm very careful to be like, hey, I love that you're a fan of my stuff if you are, but at the same time, also, I probably don't know you, probably won't ever know you, and, like, I really, really hope you don't, like, build me up to be this fantastic thing in your eyes, because I'm just a person.
Yeah.
And I want you to go make friends with people who you can actually be friends with, and not this internet person you listen to once a month, or maybe more sometimes. Yeah,
exactly. And I think that can also kind of feed into the fact that a lot of YouTubers are getting in a lot of trouble and people are still defending them because they're like, oh, well, they're like this. But, like, no, they're human. They're going to screw up.
They're not defending, like, this actual person. They're defending their buddy who they listen to all the time. They talk to. And a lot of YouTubers are actually really predatory about this. Like Jake Paul off the top of my head is a huge one because Jake Paul's primary audience is children who are going to be most susceptible to this.
Oh, yeah.
And Jake Paul doesn't have the separation or the responsibility of platform to ensure that he's not taking advantage of children when he does this. Like, there's a difference in a parasocial relationship between Elmo and this other thing, because Elmo's still a character.
Exactly.
And, like, it's a character that you could buy a toy of for a kid, and this kid will think, oh, it's my buddy Elmo, who I watched on the show, who teaches me letters. Fantastic. It's a character, not a real person. But, like, Jake Paul is a real person. So when he has these clothing lines and stuff, and this parasocial relationship with children, and the children are like, I need to buy his shirts and stuff, I need to show that I support my friend.
Yeah.
They're, like, taking straight advantage of him. Or, no, he's taking straight advantage of them, because he's profiting deliberately off of their, quote, friendship.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez.
Yeah.
Man, I hated him. Now it's just even worse.
Yeah, no, he definitely sucks.
God,
and
dude.
he's just, like, the most standout example I can think of. But, like, if you watch YouTube, especially, like, the less left-leaning the YouTube channel is, the more likely they are to either be unaware of this or abuse this.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't think Jake Paul knows necessarily he's taking advantage of this, like, completely cognizantly. On some level, he has to.
Yeah.
Because it's his profit.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's totally aware of, like, the actual effects that this has on people.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
This is the one who faked his death in front of a bunch of fans, isn't it?
I don't know. Probably. That doesn't sound out of the ballpark.
I don't know. I thought it was Jake Paul. I don't even know. One of because I thought, isn't he a set of twins?
There's Jake Paul and Logan Paul are the two of them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound out of the ballpark for either one.
Yeah, because I remember there was that one, because one of them faked their death in front of a bunch of fans.
Yeah.
Young fans. And then before that, they got in trouble by going into that suicide forest.
Oh, yeah, that's Jake Paul.
Yep.
Yeah.
Terrible human being.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's not good.
No.
And that's also one of the huge, like, dangers of people who are young and unaware of how to use platforms responsibly, gaining platforms. Like, I am like, my platform right now is tiny. It's, like, non-existent. I have 34 subscribers on YouTube. Like, 50 people follow my Twitter for just my narratives. Like, my audience is basically just my friends. Like, I don't really have, like, a more outreaching audience right now. So currently, all of my fans have legitimate relationships with me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm not gonna, like, prepare for parasocial relationships, because I'm aware that if I ever do get a platform, I do have to be responsible about it.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm, like, preparing now for if that happens. And a lot of people don't.
No, and I mean, you could even bring up, oh God, what is his name? What James Charles had happen just recently.
Oh, were you trying to sleep with a straight dude again?
Yeah, and then all the other shit he does.
Yeah, because he's a piece of trash.
He's terrible.
He's hot garbage.
He's another one of those influencers who has a straight platform of just young people, young girls, and is just abusing it so poorly or so badly.
It's just kind of wretched that people, like, are allowed to do that with their platforms. Social media accounts are actually starting to take advantage of parasocial relationships too. And I mean, like, brand accounts, not just generic social media. Specifically brands. They're starting to do this as well. In that, like, Steak a few months back made a tweet that had nothing to do with their product, but was basically them getting on a high horse and pretending they had, like, a psych major or something, and talking about, like, why people flock to brand accounts to be friends or whatever, and, like, the loneliness of the millennial and some shit like that. And I'm like, yo, you're a fucking meat company. Shut up.
What are you doing?
I don't remember specifically what I criticized them or how I criticized them, but I do remember criticizing them and being like, this has nothing to do with your product. Your account is to sell a product. You are deliberately misleading people by creating these tweets.
Yeah.
And they, like, quote tweeted me to try and, like, make some point or something like that. And I responded, like, oh, great. Thanks for, like, opening up a dog pile for your audience to come and harass me. And they deleted the quote tweet, which was a responsible thing to do. But, like, that's how unaware of the power of the platform is. Is that I, some random fucking kid, had to be like, hey, you're abusing your platform and you're going to damage me if you do this. And I'm, again, lucky that they actually listened and realized, oh shit, maybe we shouldn't do that. They didn't, like, apologize or anything like that, but they very clearly realized what they did was fucked up.
They caught on pretty quickly. I mean, I wonder if you could file into the fact, I'm sure you've seen it because you are on Twitter, is the whole, how Wendy's account just shits on all other organizations.
Yeah, Wendy's was the account that basically started this trend.
Yeah.
Because before, social media accounts basically adhered to the same, like, standards of quality that, like, a regular commercial or a billboard would have.
Yeah.
But then Wendy's was like, we're going to test the waters a little bit. Mm-hmm. And it proved to be wildly successful.
Oh, yeah.
I remember, like, 2016 when it happened. I was like, yeah, Wendy's is great and cool. And then I grew up.
Yeah. It starts out great. Somebody back there is badass. They had a good idea.
Yeah, but... because it felt like less of a social media account and more like some random renegade going off and doing what they want to.
Yeah.
But they're still advertising a product.
Oh, yeah.
Like, 100%, that's what their goal is.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's grown to such a point that, like, Sunny D made, like, a depressed suicide tweet where other brand accounts popped in. They'd be like, are you doing okay, Sunny D? And Sunny D's a brand, not a person.
Exactly.
So the idea that people were worried that Sunny D was going to commit suicide, it's like, no.
That's not how it works.
This would be like if your Nikes started tying their shoelaces in a noose and said, I'm done with this, and you watched your fucking Nikes try to hang themselves. Like, that's comical and ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, like, it's not legitimate, but people still fell for it.
They did, and it worked.
And
I hate that it worked.
I think that, I made some joke tweets where I think it was Tide.
Maybe.
I made jokes about, like, content warning for self-harm for the next, like, minute or so. But basically the tweet was a joke about Tide taking photos of, like, razor blades in the sink and being like, not anymore, and then, like, the next photo being, like, Tide detergent in the sink and, like, covering the razor blades and stuff like that. And being like, social media accounts are gonna start doing shit like this.
Yeah.
Like, Sunny D's opening a door.
Oh, yeah.
Content warning's over, in case you were, like, skipping in seconds. Content warning is over now. I'm gonna do this, like, 10 seconds, just in case they, like, hit J or L.
That's fine.
Content warning gone. I'm done describing it. But, yeah. So, like, Sunny D opened, like, a really, really negative door.
Yeah.
And so now I'm, like, a huge advocate of, like, brand accounts need to be, like, regulated by law. Like, all of the form of advertising, because this is becoming predatory, and it's becoming dangerous, and no one's doing anything about it.
Well, and I mean, you could even segue into joke brand accounts, where people are just making brand accounts to troll the brands.
Like Nihilist Arby's?
Yeah.
Nihilist
or even...
Arby's was interesting because this happened, like, years before Wendy's started this trend of social media accounts being edgy or whatever. And it's so strange that they kind of predicted how brand accounts would actually become. It's, like, fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, kind of in connection to that, like, with it being Pride Week or Pride Month, is that there was a post of Chick-fil-A changing their brand to the colors.
Oh, yeah.
Which is blatantly ridiculous because we all know what they do with their money.
Yes.
And it came out to be that it was just a troll site or a troll account that did it just to watch people shit on Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting. It was like, because people were, like, conflicted. They're like, what are you doing? What is this? Because they thought it was Chick-fil-A. They thought something was going on. And they thought there was a change. And
it's getting harder and harder to satirize these brand accounts, too. Because every time we make a satire of what they're doing, we get closer and closer to them doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I think I've made 3 or 4 different jokes on Twitter and online about brand accounts starting to solicit each other for nudes. Mm-hmm. I made a tweet, like, a couple days ago where I basically said that, what was the first brand? Fuck, I don't remember what it is. But some brand harassed the Bluebell Cheese Cow asking for nudes.
Goodness.
And the Bluebell Cheese Cow was like, hey, sexual harassment's not okay. Mm-hmm. And then liberals started buying cheese, while the conservatives started drawing the Bluebell Cow nude.
Oh my god.
And, like, I mean, that's a joke right now.
Yeah.
It's a joke currently. But it might not be.
It might not, and that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I'm not excited for how the internet's gonna go. Because we really are really behind the times, and we need regulation on brand accounts.
Oh, we do.
But we don't get them. Oh, yeah, and brands, like, co-opting, like, memes and, like, phrases and stuff that non-brands use. Like the Silence brand meme of, like, the crab shooting another crab with a laser and blowing it up. The Sonic Twitter made, like, a parody meme of that that's supposed to be brands telling other people to shut up. Oof. Instead of people telling brands to shut up.
Oh, boy.
Like, they made a reverse reaction meme. And then other brands got onto the trend, too, and started making their own parody memes of that meme. And it's like, at what point do we have anything? Because these brands are allowed to pretend to be people and keep stealing the things that people and individuals have.
Yeah.
And It's getting dangerous, and I'm not excited for it.
No.
And on the bright side, at least it's making more people aware of it. But on the not bright side, it's also making it to where people who are more easily manipulated by brands are becoming more and more manipulated. And it's getting worse and worse.
I don't know.
So I guess we'll end this episode with you are not immune to propaganda.
Nope.
And yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
I hope this was a feel good episode.
That went a lot faster than I expected it to.
Yeah, it did go by really quick. But yeah, so if you liked what you heard, like, comment, subscribe. Just interact with me, please. I'm desperate. If you want to listen to another 40 minutes of podcast, I have a Patreon, and if you donate $5 a month, you can get a whole 40 minutes more, a bonus episode of podcast, where we are usually unscripted, but since today was also an unscripted, whatever scripted, but
whatever.
Unthemed.
Yeah.
We go off of themes, so we just kind of go on tangents. And that's what the bonus episode normally is. So if you want another 40 minutes of this, come donate to the Patreon. Come check it out. It's a fun time. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Thanks, bye.